This week, we we interview David Daniels from SDS Cigars. I am. Am I frozen? Am I you? All right, it looks frozen on me. All right. This week we interview David Daniels from SDS Cigars. Just to give you a little bit programming notes, what's going on. I am currently sitting on Los Alice Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale, and through our awesome production crew here, allowing me to do a little vacation and a little cigar travel in South Florida, which, by the way, if you are into cigars, this is the place where you need to be for sure. But David comes from a section that's also a nice hot spot as well. David, again, he is the owner of S.D.S Cigars. He's going to tell us his story. It's a fascinating story. He was in the cigar business for well over a decade, doing various stuff, and then he decided to go all in and follow his passion. Can't wait to hear his story. He took a year off, traveled abroad to Ecuador and Nicaragua, and to the Dominican Republic, to Cuba, and it led him to one of my favorite places, especially when it comes to blends, which is Honduras. David, welcome to Stogie Geeks, episode 271. How are you, sir?
Brother, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
We're so happy to have you here. Tell us your story, how you got involved, how you started your business, and you shipped us two lines as well, so we'll get into those blends for sure.
Absolutely. I've been on the retail side for over a decade. Like you, I love dealing with customer service. I love the people, but my passion is always in understanding the blend aspect. My first cigar was when I was 18 years old, coming out of the Navy. In fact, it was a Siglo 5 Cohiba, and always had a fascination, man. And then, coming back to the States, started learning and understanding the retail side, started investing. And then next thing I knew, man, I was actually owning a couple of lounges, loved it, but I always still had a passion. And so I literally took a year off and just traveled to every single region. I mean, literally, like you said, I started off in Ecuador. I went from Nicaragua. I went to Honduras. I ended up at Honduras, but I went to Mexico to understand about the San Andreas leaf. And man, 2007, I started really trying to understand blending. So by those traveling trips, man, I started being around master blenders, man. They really made me understand what it takes to blend an incredible cigar. So literally I stayed average about 60 to 90 days in each spot and just learned tobacco, the taste of it. And I fell in love with it, man. And I worked my butt off. And, sometimes in our industry, you'll hear someone say, well, I came out the cigar. It took me 2 years. I've been working on Envy since 2007. So I guess I'm a little bit behind the curve, but it took me that long to finally get this blend done.
Awesome. What characteristics of each of the regions that you visited that you like the most? Now, I know that, Nicaraguan tend to have its own profile. Honduran, Nicaraguan tends to be kind of where I fall back on that kind of space when it comes to cigars. But, Mexican San Andreas certainly has its point as well. So take us through some of the characteristics that you kind of liked about some of the regions that you've been through when you were thinking about coming up with your own blend.
The first thing the first thing I was told by every single master blender, don't make a blend that you're trying to fit everybody into. Mm-hmm. You have to really understand the region. So that's why I literally took that year off and really want to understand the region. Like Ecuador, I love the fact of the rich, heavy soil, volcano ash aspect of it. It gives a very rich, very leathery type. So that's when I came around and said, okay, let me go ahead and let me focus on working with the San Andreas. So I picked that region because the richness of the soil. When I looked and thought about doing a Habano, believe it or not, I went to Ecuador. because I love the fact the floral aspects of the soil gave it a little more buttery, gave a little bit of heat to it, but yet it was very buttery, very floral. So by me understanding those different regions, I'm like, okay, I know what type of wrapper I want. And then the binder and filler was like, okay, how do I want to break it down? Because I want a very complex cigar. So I wanted that first third to be a certain taste. So believe it or not, Nicaragua was always that binder and filler for me. It was like, okay, I know that I can add some cherry notes to it because of the region and because of the soil. So, you know, I love jalapa. So I was like, okay, I got to put this in here somehow. So again, through trials and errors, and that's the thing I tell everybody, learning how to blend is incredible. And I had incredible mentors. So I could love to sit here and say, yeah, you know, I figured this all out. No, I had literally probably 10 blenders with at least 6 generations behind them teaching me, giving me the tobacco, chewing it, making me understand the taste and everything. So it's kind of an old school method. And that's why I ended up with working with Gabby Caffey from Caffey Cigars 1901 in Honduras, because he understood the philosophy of how I wanted to make cigars. And dude, it's been a beautiful relationship.
Awesome. And you know, that's one of the things that I really enjoy when you get into the whatever I always say to the Stogie Geeks listener. You know, this, you know, we get Paul and myself are only blessed because we get to talk about our journey, right? But every cigar smoker has his or her own journey that they get to go through, whether they pack a bag and do traveling like you and go for it, or whether they just stay as a Stogie Geek listener and a consumer, where, you know, they go through their own journey, they go through their own what they like, what the regions that they like, and that's what's great about the business is that, you know, when it comes to taste and flavor profile, they really are regionally specific because, like you said, the soil, the type of components and timing and effort that it takes to go in each and every premium cigar.
And that's the thing too, is you gotta realize that, you know, you get a lot of people that'll sit there and say, well, yeah, I blended this cigar, I put it together, but you know, it's a lot of new. Being boutique for me is where I love, because I'm picking the best at a very nice batch. I'm worried about 2 things: flavor and structure first. After that, again, I have, like right now, you're smoking MV1, which is the gold label, and then there's an MV3, which is a purple label. And it's funny when people sit there and say, "Well, you didn't have a band on it," and I kind of go back to, honestly, in Ecuador, they would literally say, "Take the cigar and smoke it," and I would fall in love with it. Didn't know the name of it or anything. And it was so cool about it is that that's what my envision was for my cigar. I don't have to have a band on it right now. Let me put it in your hand. I want you to smoke it.
Right.
Then we build from that point on. And, you know, being ultra boutique, again, I mean, working with Gabby, he really is about that. He's about, you know, let's make one good cigar, put it in someone's hand, and then it starts to build. So, I'm very blessed, man. I mean, I love to sit here and say that, you know, the journey has been with a lot of great components, you know, and then to get to this stage with you is telling me that I'm making and I'm doing the business side of the manufacturing the right way. So I'm very, very blessed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's in the story. You know, you've hooked up with Dr. Gabby Caffey, correct? From Caffey Tabacalera. Yes. Oh, hold on. Uh-oh. Right. So when he comes back from non-freezing, you gotta love Wi-Fi, right? Yeah. So David had done some stuff with Dr. Gabby Caffey from from Caffey Tabacalera, and you know, I've actually heard this name come up quite a bit when it comes through the Ultra Boutique cigars.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So one of the things that I asked is Take us through your journey with Dr. Gabby Caffey, because I've heard that name pop up quite a bit when it comes to ultra boutique cigars.
Dr. Caffey, man, he's unbelievable. He controls 1901 Caffey Cigars. He's truly the method of ultra boutique cigars. The method he uses is old school Cuban style, which I love. But the thing I love most about what he does at his factory and me partnering up with him was the fact that he made me understand, because literally our factory is in Dalia, Honduras, which if you're familiar with Honduras, is literally 30 minutes away from the border of Nicaragua. He could have made his plant in the free zone of Nicaragua, and basically, to do the typical thing which you're very familiar with, where basically, 8 months, 10 months, factory shut down. He doesn't do that. He has to have his employees employed for a minimum of 14 months. 1 month goes in retirement, 1 month of extra salary. The thing is yearly around. So I never have to, as a blender, I don't have to worry about, okay, the factory shutting down, I have to rush my product, any of that. And everything's under one roof. From the fact of his facility, from cellophane to the fact of my box being made, everything is there. So that's the most incredible thing about him. And you gotta realize he started his own factory 5 years ago. He used to be with the Reyes family. And the things that he's accomplished in 5 years, I'm honored, like I tell you, people say use that word a lot, to ride his coattails to really understand what is boutique. Because I'm only making so many cigars a year, and he gets that method. So to be honest with you, Dr. Caffey, and as he says, he calls me a good friend, Gabby. He's also one of the things that I love. He's one of the few manufacturers that is debt free. He literally owes no money. He started literally with his own money, took no loans out, and built that factory, man. And that's the thing also, is that I know, comfort of mind, that facility is going to be there. So again, I got lucky. I completely got lucky with him.
That's awesome. Take us through the gold band, and was the gold band the one that started first?
Believe it or not, that's the NV1.
Yeah.
That's my Ecuadorian Habano. What I love about it is an Ecuadorian wrapper with a San Andreas and Nicaragua Jalapa binder and filler. I love the taste. It's very buttery, again, very nutty. It's a little bit more of the traditional type of Cuban style taste of cigars. But again, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. I made it in a 6x50, which is a Toro, but I also made it in a 6x60. What I did was then we created what we call, like, our method is called a double wrap. So the flavor that you would get out of a Toro or Robusto, you're going to get the same exact flavor in a 6x60.
Right.
And I think I sent you quite a bit of both different sizes. And that's the thing that, again, understanding the method of how he processes his tobacco, I can get that same flavor intensity in a 6x60 Gordo as I can in a Toro.
Right. So now, before we get to the other blend, what's it like being ultra boutique? How many shops are you currently in now, and what's your methodology to obviously you want to grow and continue to get into the shops? How can the Stogie Geeks listener get their hands on some of your cigars?
Well, firstly, I'll definitely send you a list. We launched officially March 2nd of this year. We're already in 9 locations in Houston.
Okay, can you repeat that? You're already in how many locations in Houston?
9.
9. Okay, gotcha. Yep.
And the ultimate goal for us is going to be in a total of 25 locations, and that takes from Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, and Houston and San Antonio. Then we'll be done with the market in the Midwest. Dealing with Texas, because Texas is so huge. But then I'm going back home. I'm from Illinois, so the next market is Detroit and Illinois. I think
Did I freeze? Did I freeze? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, so hold on, is he caught up? Okay, great. So
and to answer your question about the method behind the marketing is simply this. Being ultra boutique means this. It's like you going into and getting a custom suit made. There's only certain people can afford that custom suit because of the fact they want a certain feel, they want a certain look. That's how my methodology is when it comes to making ultra boutique cigars. It's not going to be in every store. It's going to be in certain locations that have the clientele, the connoisseurs that really understand what we're trying to do.
Are you gonna try to jump online at some point and
Absolutely
and
not.
do some?
Nope. No, absolutely not.
So
we're brick and mortar. You gotta realize, for a decade I was a brick and mortar retailer, and the thing for me, my support is with brick and mortar. Always will be. You'll never see our cigar online.
Okay, so the best way to get these cigars in the hands of some of the listeners is if you could send me a list and they could call the local brick and mortar and maybe do commerce that way, no?
Absolutely. They can do it. They can go to that retailer and pick up our sticks. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Take us through the purple blend. Which is
Sumatra broadleaf. That's my baby there.
It seems a little bit spicier. You can definitely tell it was round 2 of your journey, for sure.
Yeah.
And it seems it's a bit heavier, but it's nice. It's a nice smooth stick for sure. But take us through that blend.
But you hit the key word. The thing that I've created with the Sumatra, when you think of Sumatra, what majority of people think? They think immediately spicy, heavy, leathery, a ton of pepper. As you smoked it, it's just smooth. It has complexity, it has heat, but it has no pepper really to it. You want to put that Merlot with it, that Shiraz, or do that incredible aged whiskey or bourbon, you can do that. And that's the thing about it, was like I wanted to go back to the roots of really understanding what the wrapper is supposed to taste like. So true enough, a lot of people don't understand. If when they walk and see that, they'll think, well, that's a really dark Sumatra. Well, again, it's the process, how we sweat out all the inequity, the ammonia's out of it, to where basically you're getting the true taste of the leaf. That's my baby.
Awesome.
So,
yeah. Awesome. Plan on coming out with any more, or are you just gonna try to push through these sticks within the locations that you're trying to get into, and go forth for 2019?
You'll be hearing. Well, my line is NV 1, 2, 3, 4, and LTD. I got 2 more bringing out, but for this year, I'm gonna finish up bringing out the Lancero, the Robusto, the Bellicosto in those lines. So you'll be able to taste those in different flavors, because as you know, it has a completely different profile, especially in the Lancero. So this rest of the year, I'm really focused on NV1 and NV3. Then next year, I'm bringing out NV2 and the LTD. So awesome. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, when you get those, ship us some more, and I'll definitely get them for a formal review on the show. For sure.
Absolutely.
Right. What's one of your biggest challenges besides trying to get into a new shop within the industry from when you started?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, Joe. It has been extremely easy, because I'm gonna tell you the whole method behind it. As you know, you've been a previous retailer as well. You got someone comes in, tells you got the latest and greatest stick. As a retailer, we know we have cost factors. So what I did is a little bit different. I actually took literally almost 1,000 samples, and put them in prominent people's hands in all of Houston. And I made them go to the retailers and say, dude, you guys need to carry this stick. That's how we was able to go from literally within 34 days being in 9 locations. Because the thing is, the people can speak for you. And, you know, when you have the confidence in a great stick, you can put it in someone's hand. That is my greatest salesperson, period. I don't need a sales rep. That is my greatest sales rep. So me putting that in a consumer's hand, and then the voices started talking. Then they start saying, hey, man, you know what? You gotta try this stick. Where you can get it? They talk to a retailer. And as a retailer, I'm thinking, I need to bring this stick in. Not because of the sales rep. I have already generated sales already. So me buying this stick in, I already know it's going to be sold. So that was my method behind getting into certain locations that I want to get into. So it's kind of a grassroots campaign, and it's been very successful for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is this your first podcast interview?
Yes, it
within
is,
the
brother.
cigar field. It is. See?
Yeah. Hey, I'm like you. I'm traveling, so I literally had to pull. I had to jump in the car because I'm like, you know what? I got to pull over and make sure I do this interview. So, yeah, it's awesome, man. It's an awesome journey.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing your business grow. You know, it's really great that we were able to be in contact when you first launched. You know, I really appreciate the opportunity for the interview, for sure. And you can tell your fan base that they can see it on StogieGeeks.com, and it'll be archived there forever. Episode 271, and who knows, maybe we'll pick up a couple of listeners along the way.
Yeah, I think you definitely pick up some listeners. But the greatest thing is that, you know what, I'm very blessed. Thank you guys so much for the support and the love. Yes, we're gonna grow, and again, opportunities like this mean a lot to me. So you got all my support. Anything you guys need.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, couple of questions. If you were a superhero, if you were to wake up tomorrow as a superhero, who would you be?
Wow. DC or Marvel?
Who?
Okay, is it DC or Marvel? Do I have to choose between which one?
No. That's actually a good point, though. That's a good point, though, for future episodes.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, man, I gotta say I love Tony Stark, man. So I gotta say Iron Man.
Iron Man. There you go. How would you, not in the cigar industry, but how would you use a superpower?
How would I use a superpower? Well, man, in the cigar industry, hey, the thing is, like I said, he's opened a lot of doors. He's a philanthropist. He opens up colleges. He's done so much, giving scholarships. Hell, he made Spider-Man his new suit. So you know what? Just when you're a genius and you're a philanthropist and money, I think you can do quite a bit. So yeah.
I like it. That's a great answer. See, now we get to know a little bit about your personality, for sure.
It's all about the future. Giving back.
Yep. So the future, you got some blends coming out. You're definitely poised for growth, which is a good thing, and we look forward to hearing more updates.
Always mess up in the front.
Absolutely, man. And again, I'm so blessed. Thank you so much to all your listeners. Go to S.D.S Cigars on Facebook. Check us out. If you have any questions, the nice thing about it, you'll usually get me, so I answer any of your questions at all. And again, Joe, brother, I am truly blessed. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. When you come into the Northeast, it's starting to get warm now, so.
Well, if you're gonna get on a golf course with me, we probably looking around what, May or June?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. We'll have to talk offline and do some golfing for sure.
All right. How many strokes you giving me?
I don't know. Depends on if we're starting off with a big breakfast and Bloody Marys, or if we're gonna go for it.
All right, fair enough. Okay, well, I was gonna say I'll bring the sticks. So hey, I was like, bring the sticks. I should get some advantage.
And there you go. Absolutely, at least a stick a hole. So you got 9-stroke advantage or 18-stroke advantage. There you go. We'll figure that out. Definitely.
Brother.
Yeah, stay in touch. So before I end this episode, I just want to take the time out to thank Juan from Havana Republic Cigars. He's allowed me the opportunity to set up shop here. If you're ever on the Fort Lauderdale area, definitely check them out. They're located at 610 East Los Alice Boulevard over in Fort Lauderdale. It's a great place. Like I said, he had me when he has a wall of wine, for sure. And they have live music here on the weekends. It's a good time, full of entertainment, humidor full of cigars. So I just want to say thank you, and I will definitely be back doing something from this location for sure. Next week I will be in studio, probably still a little hungover from this trip, but we'll be able to catch up on episode 272. If my calendar says me correctly, we're going to be interviewing another rebirth of another new cigar company. So you want to stay tuned for all of what's going on Stogie Geeks. All you have to do is go to stogiegeeks.com, like us on our Facebook and our Instagram, and definitely tell your friends about the show. David, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank our production crew for doing a fast-paced, a lot of texting and coordination to get this launched. But I want to thank the production crew back home in Warwick, John and Mark for Stogie Geeks, for doing a great job as well. Yep, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. David, stay in touch. I'll talk to you offline, and I'll give you a call next week when I'm back in action.
All right, brother. You be safe, okay?
All right, I will. Take care. And that is episode... Yep, take care. And that is episode 271 of Stogie Geeks. I have been your host, Joe Hozempa. We had Paul Azadorian for Sticks of the Week. It was a great time. We'll see you next week.